Hello friends, I welcome you to the lecture 9 on cost of quality as a part of our Six Sigma course, and we have continuously emphasized that if top management and people need to be sensitized for quality, then quality must be measured in terms of cost, what you are really losing by not opting for the better and higher quality standards. So, this part we will try to see in this lecture 9. Before that, let us just try to have a small recap. We have basically talked about pillars of TQM in last lecture. We have seen the quality management philosophies and principles extended by various quality gurus, quality enablers, and what is the prerequisite for implementing continuous improvement program like Six Sigma, and what is the difference between leadership and management, and how leadership at every level in the organization can play a great influential role in building the quality culture. So, with this let us try to continue in our journey, and this lecture will basically focus on quality cost, cost of poor quality, typical poor quality cost, and link between quality and the profit. So, these issues will help you to appreciate that any organization, service or manufacturing, by not putting their efforts for achieving the better quality, how much they are losing and what is the rupee or dollar cost associated with this. So, to begin with, I would like to refer a very good quote given by Don Davis, president of Allen Bradley Company. He said that the driving force behind productivity today is not working faster or working cheaper, it is working together. So, this is the spirit we have seen as a part of TQM, and quality is the responsibility of everyone. It must empower the people, motivate the people to participate in a team based work and achieve for the higher quality standards. Now, let us see that major factors of product and services processing, and these factors could be divided into two broad categories. Number one, soft side of the management, and another is hard side of the management. So, when you talk about total quality of product or services, you can see that environment, people and methods, this may be put together as a soft side of the management, and equipment, material, this is hard side of management. So, it is important for an organization to integrate these two in order to realize the benefit of quality in terms of cost and see that perpetual sustainable quality improvement can be implemented in the organization. So, commitments for the organization to consistently produce conforming products. The moment you produce defective product, non-conforming product, you are basically adding the rework or scrap, and this leads to hidden factory and the cost. So, we want to achieve a desired standard product or service which meets the customer requirement and satisfaction, and for that I want to produce the conforming products. Quality is basically the conformance to requirement, not just goodness. I may be producing fantastic product, but this product does not meet the necessary requirements of the customer or market, then it is not conformance to requirement. The requirements are often measurable, and the system of causing quality is prevention, not the appraisal. I would like to emphasize heavily on this third point, that the system of causing quality is prevention and not the appraisal. So, if you spend 1 rupee, $1 on prevention, then your appraisal cost, including your inspection correction cost, can drastically be brought down. So, with this let us try to see the broader categorization of quality cost. There is cost of conformance and there is cost of non-conformance. So, typically I would like to put prevention cost and the appraisal cost as a part of cost of conformance, and cost of non-conformance, it is internal failure cost as well as external failure cost. So, in the first case I am trying my best to see that I can meet the stipulated requirements, I can conform to those requirements, and in my pursuit of doing so I will have to accept prevention cost and appraisal cost. Second is cost of non-conformance. My product is non-conforming either in terms of performance or requirements, then I will have to accept the internal failure cost. This may be related to rework or scrap, and there would be external failure cost. So, my product is not satisfactorily performing or meeting the customer requirement when it is handed over to the customer. So, we will see the detailed classifications and the various costs we as a company will have to incur for cost of conformance as well as for cost of non-conformance. There could be other quality costs difficult to quantify. Many a times you cannot realize how the quality not meeting the customer requirement and market is slowly and gradually damaging the company. This may be resulted or reflected in the shrinking market share, but such realization may be slow, and gradually you will see that many best organizations, they are thrown out from the market and their sustenance was at the stake. So, loss of customer goodwill, low company profile, reduction in market share, low workplace employee morale, these are some of the hidden intangible factors that you may not immediately realize, but gradually it will have a long term impact on the organization and your overall sustenance or profitability of the company will be at stake. So, just see this, that quality cost, there is a typical distribution, it may vary from company to company, but in general prevention, if you really spend wisely, then 5% of the total. So, for companies who measure this cost for the first time, appraisal 25% of the total, and failure may be internal or external 70% of the total. So, in totality this is the typical distribution of your quality cost, and in order to produce the conforming products or the products which can meet the customer requirement, I may spend my money on these different components. Now, COPQ, cost of poor quality, just see that it is the expense of doing things wrong. So, here the concept is that you measure what will happen if I will not do the things rightly. It means if I am not meeting the customer specifications, requirements and quality standard, what exactly damage I am accepting, and if you really measure this, you can better sensitize the top management as well as the people for achieving the better quality standards. So, service units 30 to 40% of turnover, that is the cost of poor quality, and if you see the manufacturing unit, then 20 to 30% of the turnover. This is something where if you convert it into monetary term, you can really say get sensitized that what exactly you are losing, and spending little money on training, prevention, maybe say continuous improvement program would be much rewarding. So, typical poor quality cost, if you see, then there could be various types of cost within a category of prevention, appraisal and so on. So if we just see the prevention cost, then job related training for employees. Fine, we are enhancing their skills and through that they are becoming more competent in executing their task. So it's a prevention cost. Their mistake level, error level will go down. Customer interface to understand expectations. Very important. Organization and the customer should not behave as separate entity. Let there be proper marriage. Let there be proper collaboration between customer and the organization, and this interface can help the company to appreciate what to produce, what to provide and what not. Technical manuals that provides the guidelines to the people in executing their task so that they stick to certain standards, operating procedures and don't make the mistakes. Early approval of product specifications. So many a times say you undertake the production and still you are not final from the client point of view, R&D point of view about the specifications, and this is quite dangerous. So early approval of the product specifications from R&D, manufacturing as well as the most important is customer can help you to realize better products and services. Computer aided design and also the simulation that can save lot of cost before actually you go for the real life production. And quality planning. Another components that we may appreciate as a part of prevention cost is the most important preventive maintenance and equipment. So we always talk about the philosophy total productive maintenance TPM, and TPM emphasizes on empowerment of the people for doing the maintenance of their own equipment and becoming more proactive in keeping the instruments, equipments up to the mark with better efficiency to carry out the production. Quality systems, procedures and standards, your quality manuals, it must be up to date and must be properly communicated to the people so that they stick to the company wide accepted standards. Pilot production runs, reviews, design, process, specifications, packaging, selection, right man, right job. So as I mentioned in lean, eighth waste is waste of unutilized human competence or potential, and we should try to minimize this component also. Prevention cost, you can see there are many areas where if you just spend little bit, you would avoid inviting many troubles later on. So surveys to detect changes in customer expectations. See, customers, they are exposed to lot many products, they are exposed to lot many varieties, brands, and it is extremely difficult to expect that my customer will stick to the same expectation. So in the dynamic environment, time to time you should keep a track on changing customer expectations and see that how you can modify your existing product and features to meet the new customer expectations. Process machine capability indices and studies. We will see these in detail. So many a times with aging factor, wear and tear and use of the equipments, machineries, maybe their process capability has gone down or the process capability because of some parameters disturbed, it has got little bit lower, and this study helps you also to take necessary action on equipments and machines to keep them up to the mark. Budgeting, job description and making people comfortable for their task, quality motivational programs and continuously seeking the commitment of the people. So this was a detailed list of various types of initiatives that you can take as a part of prevention. Now let us see the appraisal cost. I am receiving the material, there could be incoming inspection. So remember, inspection is not bad, but inspection is a wasteful activity which does not add really any value to my product. So There could be incoming inspection, there is in-process inspection, there is final inspection, there could be process control activities like control charts and others, and calibration of equipment to evaluate quality. So there are various appraisal costs that also add to my COPQ domain, and if I spend little bit more on prevention, then appraisal cost can even be minimized. So product audits, quality system audits, training of quality assurance personnel, live testing, burn in stress analysis, operating expenditure review, invoice reviewing, personal appraisal, then safety and so on. So mainly you will see that here in majority of the component, inspection is the central part, and either I have little less confidence in my system or I want to be doubly sure, then I keep on adding inspection, and this really does not add much value to my products and processes. There could be, say, non-conforming quality cost, and that is internal failure cost. So rejection of parts in process, sudden breakdowns, your machine downtime is higher, oil spillage, parts dropping on shop floor, rework, scrap, all this. So as I mentioned in the previous class, that there is a hidden factory, and this hidden factory needs to be addressed adequately. This is all part of your hidden factory internal failure cost. You can see re-inspection activity. I am increasing the level of inspection because I am not very much confident about my processes and hence the outcome. Troubleshooting, wrongly produced product, excess inventory, salvaging, billing error, line stopping due to parts shortage, redoing, retyping, and lot many. So all these are part of hidden factory, and there could be many more. Waiting cost, personnel turnover, you are losing the human asset. So you really need to figure out that what is that demotivating, and many a times it is not only the money but the kind of motivation, challenge people they get in handling their assignment is one of the very important factor, and this needs to be analyzed. So losing a human asset is a big loss because you have trained the human for a long period of time, and then if they move to other organization, it is not just a loss of one person, it is a loss of 10 years of experience. So time spent for follow up, missed schedules, disclosure of company secrets, this is also dangerous when this is disclosed to your competitors and market. Making reports which are not used, so a lot of duplicating work and adding too many layers in administration, poor reports and doing things that don't need to be done. So many a times we do lot many things in the factory that is actually not required, maybe too much material handling, maybe too much processing, and all this puts together and adds to my COPQ under internal failure cost. If we see the various components of external failure cost, then you have delivered the product to the customer. Now after that, product is creating the problem, and there is a field repair center and total expenses. So you will have to visit the customer site, correct the equipment, and this is field visit related cost, correction cost. Products rejected and returned, customer is not at all happy, he is just returning the products or rejecting it, and you are bound to accept as a part of your contract with the customer. Field failures, you are not able to rectify and correct the problem, and there could be, say, failure of the machine and subsequently failure of the service. Field inventory, product liability suits, legal issues, loss of customer goodwill, damage in transit or theft, your packaging is poor, or maybe the road conditions and transport is not adequate, so there could be a damage in transit, poor quality of product, re-inspection, retesting and repair. There could be breakdowns during warranty, troubleshooting in the field, redesign, training of the field personnel because they are not able to handle the customer complaints, corrective action, travel on problems in field and warranty expenses. You can see that there are many areas where company they might be spending money, but it is actually not adding any value to the product or service and to the customer. So typically if you see the example just of one particular process, let us say purchasing, and I want to understand the various cost of quality involved in terms of cost of conformance as well as in terms of cost of non-conformance. If we see the cost of conformance, proper specification drawings to vendor. If you can do this, fine. The associated administrative cost will lead to conformance to requirement and it will help me to improve upon my quality. Vendor evaluation, review and approval. So you are installing this as a regular process and this helps your company to get better material as well as helps the vendor to improve upon their competency. Higher inventory due to difficulty in procurement, fine, this is not a positive indicator, but sometimes if the lead time variation is very high at the supplier end, then you may try to build little bit higher inventory. Incoming inspection, many a times say we go for acceptance sampling, or if we know that my supplier is highly reliable based on the track record and the process capability is very high at supplier end, then we may accept the certificate provided by supplier and that could be good enough. Educating vendors to put quality system in place, training programs and vendor meet. We can see the list of cost of non-conformance, purchase order not proper, rewrite, amendments. There could be incoming material rejected, sorting, rework, reinspection. You can see that here whatever I am doing, it is mainly rework. It is mainly adding inspection, adding say a duplicating kind of effort, material return cost, premium on freight, visits to supplier to solve the problems or conflicts. So the question here is that are quality and profit linked? What is your view? Are quality and profit linked, or without bothering much about quality, I can still reap the better profits? So we have talked and seen in detail the various costs associated with the quality, and I need to really see that how much I can spend little bit on prevention so that other cost component can be minimized. So let us see. The answer is yes. There is an evidence that high performing organizations, benchmark organizations, world class organizations, they enjoy both financial success and high rating of the customer satisfaction. So these two go together. When you have greater customer satisfaction and loyalty, automatically your business success improves. This has been verified by many consulting surveys, benchmarking exercises and increasingly popular forms of self-assessment. Let us try to see as an example some study conducted by a well-known consulting firm, Ernst & Young, and what they discovered when 500 businesses in Canada, USA, Germany and Japan were analyzed. So there are three parameters they have considered. Number one, quality performance is low, quality performance is medium and quality performance is high. Now if we see the impact of this various quality performance on set of parameters, then let us say return on asset is less than 2%. Value added per employee is less than 47,000 if your quality performance is low, and customer satisfaction index obviously is low. If you go to medium, then return on asset increases to 2 to 7%. Value added per employee, it goes higher, $47,000 to $74,000, and customer satisfaction index is medium. And if you see the quality performance high, meeting the conformance requirements, customer requirements with less rework, scrap, hidden factory, then return on asset is 7%. Companies are investing heavily in machineries, infrastructure, equipment, human resource, all these assets, and you really want to have better utilization of the resources and hence the greater return on assets. So, return on asset is more than 7%, sometimes it goes higher than 10%, and value added per employee is greater than $74,000 and customer satisfaction index is highest. So, this clearly demonstrates, yes, there is a link between quality and the performance of the organization, and we cannot ignore the importance of COPQ, cost of poor quality, and this helps the company to really get sensitized over their quality performance. So, what is the action plan? So, the action plan is determination and commitment of the management. Quality first must be communicated to all employees, no compromise. Quality management in 3 phases: quality planning like budgeting in finance, quality control keep within budget, and quality improvement make results better than forecast in budget and keep the process ongoing, continual. So, finally, even if you are on the right track, you will get run over if you just sit there or move slowly. So, please understand that quality is a continuous journey, and the measures like cost of poor quality always helps us to be on the right track and with the right pace in our pursuit of improving quality and meeting our internal as well as external benchmarks. So, before I close, I want you to think over a couple of issues. I am floating here few questions for your internal consumption and thinking. So, enlist the major factors of product and service processing. Can you outline the major factors of manufacturing a ballpoint pen, just a product? Address both hard and soft issues, and you can make use of cause and effect diagram. Compare the various poor quality costs and just try to emphasize its importance in terms of COPQ. Outline various costs of conformance and non-conformance for a typical case of pizza delivery. So, a restaurant wants to deliver a pizza. Now, we have seen the example for purchasing. Now, for this particular process, can you identify the various costs of conformance and non-conformance? How quality and profit are linked? Give an example taking the case of a specific product of your choice. So, please give a thought over this couple of questions, and that will help you to have quick revision of the concepts we have learnt in this particular lecture. These are the references that you can refer for deeper understanding and exploring the greater details. Finally, as a conclusion, we can say that organization must commit to consistently produce conforming products and hence be sensitized on the cost of quality. COPQ is a management tool. It is a critical measure. Eliminating non-conformities leads to enormous financial results, and focus on comparative data and measurement is extremely vital, because unless you look at the benchmark, best practices, what is the cost of quality of your competitor, what is the hidden factory cost at your competitor place, and what you are at, you cannot really set the program for the improvement. So, thank you very much for your interest in learning the concept of cost of poor quality. Appreciate this. I would advise you visit an industry, consider a particular process, manufacturing or service, and first you make a checklist of various elements of cost of poor quality as a part of cost of conformance as well as cost of non-conformance, and just try to quantify it in terms of say monetary value, and then discuss with the specific functional manager and see that if you spend little on prevention, how many of this cost can really be minimized or avoided. So wish you all the best. Be with me.